Happy Sunday, you guys, and happy October 1st. Happy first day of 40 days of focus. I'm super excited. I want to just say thank you. Thank you for joining this journey with me. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be open with what God is doing with me personally and invite you to be a part of this community while we go through these days of allowing God to remind us where not only where our help comes from, but what we should be mindful of, right? Sometimes we can get so caught up in what's happening in front of us as the Israelites did, right? They were so caught up in, oh, it was better for us to live in agony and slavery because we had food to eat. We knew where our food was coming from. We didn't have to play guess or guessing games, right? And so sometimes we can have the that vocabulary, that language, as if God is not God, and God won't take care of us, and God won't supply all of our needs. And so this is where this derives from, actually, that story. God was dealing with me and just my personal focus and how I needed to adjust a few things, right? And he said, the reason why the Israelites took longer to get to the promised land is because they were able to see, but they weren't able to focus. Right? And the thing about focusing is that it requires God, because focus is the unseen. Focus is, okay, well, I might not have this accomplished yet, but I can still see it. I might not be in this financial bracket, but I still know it's happening. And so focusing allows us to be able to experience the promised land without being in the promised land, right? And so how do you do that? We experience it with our mind. It's, the word of God said, it tells us to focus on things above, right? And what are things above? Is what God has already ordained for us. It's what God is telling us to write down and make plain. It's what God is trying to get us to. But if we allow our sight to interfere with our focus, we will become like the Israelites, walking and wandering for years when God wanted us to just get through a process in days. And so 40 days of focus is about that. So day one, what are we doing day one? We are planning our week. All right. So each Sunday, I want us to plan our week. I want us to just write it down and make it plain, right? Write it down and make it plain. And what we write down, we will execute, right? So that's as far as time, as far as getting things handled, but we will also make sure that we will include a day or moment of rest in that planning. And so one of the things that I was reading actually in Exodus this morning, Exodus 16, um, it had a lot of different factors. And one of the factors, it says in Exodus 16:30, is on the seventh day they rested, right? So this is when they were gathering the manna to be able to eat daily. This is one of the times that the Israelites were complaining about not having the food that they desired. And so after they got the instructions to get the manna for 6 days. On the seventh day, on the sixth day, they were supposed to have leftovers, which they did. But some people on the seventh day still went out looking for something that God told them it was not going to be there. Like literally, God told them it was not going to be there. And so he wanted them to rest on that seventh day. He wanted them to keep the Sabbath holy. And so as we are focusing, we have to remember that we have to rest our minds. We have to recalibrate. We have to get realigned. And so today is a day, and each Sunday of these next 6 weeks will be a day of planning, right? A day for us to plan out what we're going to do for the week, and execute in that way, okay? And so that is that. Throughout this journey, we will be meeting, okay? So Monday through Fridays at 4:30 Central Standard Time, okay? So if you're Eastern Standard Time, it's 5:30. I think Pacific is 2 hours out, so that would be, or out, it'd be like 1. no, 2. So that'll be 2:30. So if you're on Pacific Standard Time, that'll be 2:30. So we will meet to pray live, and I will send out that link before we go. So just look for the email, and we'll just look it up. So it'll be either, more likely it's going to be YouTube, and so you'll just be able to click the link, so it won't have any issues. And I will send that out in the morning. So we'll pray at 4:30 every morning on Monday through Friday. And then also we will have prayer on Monday nights, where we gather via Instagram and Facebook. That's 9 p.m. Monday nights. And then we also have an opportunity to focus together in our focus room on Tuesdays for about 90 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna block out 90 minutes on Zoom, and we're just gonna focus. We're gonna it's gonna be different things. So be prepared to work. Be prepared to get some things done, right? And if you're not be able to make it the full 90, don't feel compelled. But even if you can make 30 minutes, that will literally change the trajectory of us getting things done that we need to get done for ourselves, which will allow us to get things done for on behalf of the kingdom. And so I'm super excited about what's going on. I don't know in full what God is about to expose, but I know that He is taking us to another level, because He would not require us to come together as a community to zone in. Like God, if God is telling me to zone in on something and focus on something, I know He is telling you to zone in and focus on something. And so sometimes we just need a little help. Sometimes we need the extra push. And these next 40 days, we're going to get that. And so take advantage of what God is aligning in this time. Take advantage on what God is aligning in this season. We're going to lean on each other, and we're going to trust God to be God. And so I'm super excited, and I want to say thank you again for joining me on this journey. I look forward to seeing you guys in the morning for prayer. That's 4:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. I love you. Have an awesome first day of focus.